Well, lovely morning. Good morning, boys and girls. Aliens? Anybody in between? Whoever you are. If you're watching, you're welcome. I decided today I'd have a little Twitter on about, my days of driving trucks. Now, this was 70s. Truck technology was different then, driving was different, but the other thing that was different was we had borders back then, and it was not uncommon to get off at Calais with too much fuel in the tank, 200 litres allowance, and you'd have a full tank, and 10 francs would accidentally find its way into the gendarme's hand, neatly folded inside your documentation. And this was common, this was every trip. It was just part of the process. This was before they put the gendarmes onto the fine system, before they put them on a percentage. And you get through the border and you trundle on up to Dunkirk and go through another border by the canal there. Then you trundle up to Aachen, where you'd have to, or whatever border you choose depending on where you're going. I was going to Dusseldorf, so Aachen, pull up and go in, and what you did on that border was give your paperwork to an agent. I used angels, as they were called, and they would do the process for you and come and find you in the lorry and give you your paperwork and let you go through. And you had to fill in your tank shine, which was say how much fuel you'd got. You could go into Germany with whatever you went in with, and you could come back out with that much, but you couldn't come out with more. Just to stop you buying cheap diesel. Anyway, carnetiers and all sorts of paperwork, document, customs. So I pulled into the lorry park, walked up to the agents, given them paperwork. I had a load of groupage on, which is a mixed load. I had about 4 deliveries in Dusseldorf area, and then I would come back with something similar. You go to a large warehouse and pick up a mixed load for deliveries in England. Anyway, unusually long time, about 6 hours later, I got called by the agents, and he said, you must come and speak to them. Why? What have I done? So I got in the office, and this very pompous looking German said, you have a pallet of these, and he pointed to the paperwork, and I said, Guinness miniatures, yeah. What are these? I said, well, they're little half-inch high bottles, or inch high bottles of Guinness that people give away in pubs and clubs for representatives to give away. As you did in those days, you had all sorts of things floating about on the market. In fact, I've still got one of those bottles as a keepsake. So he said, please let me see. So I'm back to the lorry. It was a fair walk. Opened it, got on the back, found the pallet, tore open the box, got a couple of bottles. I might as well go with 2 or 3. I think about 4 in my pockets. Walked up there and I put one on the desk, and I said, there you go. He said, so this is beer? Yeah. He said, I have checked, they have no license. Germany does not import beer, and we have no license for this product to be imported. Well, that's good traffic control. Yeah, I see. Okay. Sorry about that. You have no license to import this beer. So, Jack that lad, thinking quick on my feet, I said, well, you'll probably find if you open it, it's probably not beer. It might be something like sugar water. It is a gift. There's no cost, there's no value, which is what they're normally worried about, the VAT value, or the federal tax. Oh, so this is not beer in the beer bottle? I said, possibly. We need to open one to find out. He said, we need to be very careful here. If this is not beer in this beer bottle, you'll be held and prosecuted for false representation. Oh dear. By now I'm thinking, oh shit. I said, well look, okay, how about if I don't bring it into Germany? How about if I find a groupage warehouse in Belgium, take it off? That would be an answer. Okay, well you're on a motorway and you slip in, it's very difficult to turn around. So I've managed to phone the boss from the groupage, from the agent's office. And he's given me advice, so I've waited till it was sort of dark that evening, and I've dumped 50 cardboard cartons full of Guinness Guinness miniatures in the hedge. I'm sure somebody will find them, and somebody will have found them, but I represented my paperwork the next day saying they're gone, they're no longer on the lorry, may I go through? Yeah, no problem, enjoy your trip. So don't try and import beer into Germany. Don't try and import something that pretends to be beer, because either way the buggers will get you. It was an odd time driving lorries back then. You had to make your own rules. You carried an amount of cash wherever you went. The amount you carried dependent on where you were going. And you'd have a wallet full of different currencies, and you carried a briefcase, because in that briefcase you'd have staplers and company stamps and CMR notes that you could fill out, and you had to do all your own paperwork. Today lorry jockeys get in and they drive anywhere they want in Europe, and it's not a problem. I don't think many of them would survive back in the 70s and 80s, when you had to clear customs at every single border, and the complications. And like Italy, you would cross the border, but you had to know where the douane, or the customs agents for the area you were going to was. I mean, you could drive right down as far as Rome, and you would then go to the customs warehouse. But woe betide you if you went off route. Part of the Transport International Route, TIR. So you had to know where all these places were, and if you didn't, you had to talk to people and find out before you crossed the border. Now, I don't think drivers of today, sticking their digicards in, would cope. But we were paid a lot more then. We were paid a hell of a lot more. Our earnings potentially 3 times as much as the drivers are earning now, 3-4 times possibly, because we had to have so much knowledge. And again, we didn't have sat-navs or twat-navs. It was all done by map and guesswork, and bribe a local Turkish taxi driver with some fags to lead you to the warehouse and all that sort of thing. And it was a fun job. Would I want to do it now? No. No way on earth could you get me to do it now. Bloody indicators. No way could you get me to do it now, because it's all to the minute. You're told what to do, where to go, how to get there, what time to have a shit, and nah, it doesn't interest me. There's no initiative left in it. And I think that's why I left the job. They brought in tachographs, and they started bringing legislation after legislation, and I thought, this is no fun anymore. This is not what I originally started doing. You know, I learnt the old way. You had to go out with another driver and learn to use chains and dogs and rope and sheet properly so all the knots were level, and you had to do the job properly. They couldn't do it now. I've seen drivers loading loads. I haven't got a clue how to do dolly knots. And anyway, enough of my mumbling. Hope you enjoyed that stupid little story. Ride safely, as I know you will. And please try and be as happy as you possibly can. We all have it in us to be happy. Let's try. Speak to you soon. Bye.